Welcome to this Tutor to You Criminology video looking at individualistic theories of crime, focusing on the work of Sigmund Freud and his psychodynamic theory. The work of Sigmund Freud is possibly one of the best known psychodynamic theories, but how does it explain crime? As an individualistic theory, Freud's work focuses on the early stages of an individual's development and how their upbringing impacts on their later life, and this has been applied to criminal behaviours. Other theories, such as Bowlby's maternal deprivation theory, also examines the early stages of an individual's life and looks to make connections with later criminality, and this has informed some policy making on preventing criminality, which we'll look at in later videos in this series. Freud's theory centres around three key concepts of an individual's personality. Each of these is contained within the individual's subconscious, which makes it difficult to measure and falsify. But Freud's concepts of the id, the ego, and the superego look to explain how unconscious processes in the mind impact on the behaviour of individuals. The first component, and the earliest to develop according to Freud, is the id, or the pleasure principle. The id is the dominant part of our personality that dictates our wants and desires, and this develops early in life, usually through desiring food, comfort and affection. As we grow older, this becomes more dominant, as it motivates much of our behaviour. The things we want, whether material or emotional, are dictated by our id. But as we grow older, our needs and desires are governed by social situations, the relationships we have with others, and the resources available to use. These can limit our ability to satisfy those needs, as do social expectations of our behaviour. These social expectations help form our superego, our individual moral code. The superego is what limits us from gaining access to the things our id desires. With a limited superego, we just take what we want, but in society that can cause problems. Our superego develops to aid us in knowing what is right and wrong. It's our conscience, so to speak, and that guides our morals and ethics. This causes friction within individuals as it clashes with our id. For example, we may desire the latest iPhone, and our id may look to obtain that through any means possible. However, our superego is what tells us not to commit crime or to hurt others to achieve that goal. It stops us from stealing from others. The superego is also responsible for the shame and guilt that we feel when we do something wrong, and this prevents us from repeating such actions. It also controls our anxiety, our fear of doing the wrong thing, and this is why there needs to be a healthy balance between our morals and our desires. And this balance is provided by the ego, or the reality principle. The ego weighs up the desires of the id and the morals of the superego and governs our behaviour so that we behave in socially desirable ways. The ego governs our self-awareness. It keeps us grounded in reality. It helps us to understand the consequences of our actions, while simultaneously finding a way to satisfy our needs. But how does this lead to crime? There are a number of ways in which these three components, if functioning inadequately, can cause crime. Firstly, through a weakly developed superego. This would reduce the amount of guilt that individuals feel over their actions. Without knowing or understanding the consequences of our actions, individuals may decide to indulge their own needs at the expense of others. A second way is through an overdeveloped superego, which may lead individuals to desire being punished for their actions. High levels of guilt and anxiety have a negative impact on the self-esteem of individuals, and they seek punishment as they believe that they deserve it. Finally, a deviant superego, one that has been socialized into deviant norms and values, will have less fear of committing crime, and so be more likely to satisfy the needs of the id without feeling guilty for their actions. This concept of being socialized into deviant norms and values has also been expanded on by sociologists such as right realists. There are strengths and limitations to Freud's theory, as there are with all theories of why crime occurs. A strength of Freud's work is that it looks at how individuals' upbringing can influence their later life, suggesting that individuals are not born criminals, but rather shaped by their families. Freud's work also has many positive applications for treating criminal behaviour, suggesting that what has been done can be undone, rather than being biologically deterministic like genetic or psychological theories. However, a limitation of Freud's work is that much of it is based upon his ideas of how the personality develops, rather than on empirical research. Since Freud was writing in the early 20th century, there have been many advances in understanding how individuals develop, and evidence to support these ideas. Freud's ideas fail to take into account that some people who commit crime do not come from criminal families, and that people who are socialized into crime often become victims of crime themselves.